Hi guys and welcome to the 2016 Italian Grand Prix review. Now Italy has just finished round 14 of the 2016 Formula 1 season and it was an unbelievable race around the Autodrome di Monza in Italy. And JT, we all love coming to Monza and
Yes.
it didn't fail to amaze us as an unbelievable race and one for the history books.
No, it didn't. I mean, it was a good Grand Prix as well. Obviously the Divorcee never
Yeah,
unfortunately seen, but at least they got on the podium, so
yeah.
there's something to cheer about. I haven't seen the podium celebrations yet, but I believe there'll be some boos at Rosberg because
Ooh, yeah,
that is the only thing that pretty much downs the Divorcee is that
yeah,
Ferrari aren't on the top step,
exactly.
but they're on the podium and spot on if I'm
And
honest.
just
I thought
as
it was a good
JT
race.
mentions that, we're going to kick off this episode like we did in Belgium, JT, by
Yes,
awarding the Driver of the Day award. Now, as we just
yes.
mentioned, Ferrari and someone to please the Tifosi, you might be able to guess, but whom in Ferrari, JT, will you please tell our fans who the 2016 Italian Grand Prix Driver of the Day award winner is?
Well, the F1 debate driver of the day for Italy has gone to the home team, and it's going to Sebastian Vettel for his
Yes,
P3
well
there.
done.
Now, when I was discussing this, because I did a live stream, and I didn't really know who was going to get driver of the day because nobody really amazed me in a certain sense. But then I was thinking, well, hang on, I think Sebastian Vettel, out of all the problems Ferrari have had, and to get on the podium at the home race was, I mean, tremendous. They have had a good weekend as well. They've outpaced the Red Bulls, and obviously had to go to one of them, and it was whoever would finish on the podium, and it was Sebastian Vettel. So
Yep,
Sebastian Vettel, that is coming your way, my
well
friend. The
done,
first
Vettel.
time you've won it.
First time.
Also, a home race. I'm just hearing that the Divorcee have gone absolutely insane right
I
now.
imagine they
There's
have.
flares and everything riot happening because they've just heard Sebastian Vettel has won driver of the day. Yes, he hasn't won the Grand Prix, but he's won driver of the day, and the Divorcee very satisfied with that, LC.
Italy on the podium. That's what they want. And
Exactly.
JT, again, you were busy doing the live broadcast, so but
Yes.
I managed to get the text message that Sebastian Vettel quickly sent
Yes,
before
he
he
did because
went
I don't get
on
text messages when
the
I'm doing live streams.
amazing one of a kind podium in Monza. He went, "Thank you very much, JT and LC, for winning Driver of the Day award. I've got me 4 World Championships, but just they don't count. I want to win Driver of the Day award." It was a very fun race. I don't like being in third. I like being in first. But
Yes.
third's better than second, and obviously, sorry, I mean third's worse than second and better than fourth. And yeah, the Driver of the Day award's the best thing that I want to win, and
Exactly.
hopefully I do well for the rest for the next races of the season as we head into the Twilight of Singapore, which is a race that Seb does unbelievably well with. He has done in the past. Obviously, winners here, many multiple winners with Red Bull Racing, and obviously with Ferrari in 2015, his last and most recent race victory. So, obviously, thank you,
Yes.
Seb, for your message. You've joined an amazing line of drivers, JT, doesn't he? That have won Driver of
Yes.
the Day award. Some have won it a few times. Obviously, I think the most successful is well, I mean, there's a few on two.
Uh,
Um,
I mean,
I'd say Checo was the best one, but
Perez has won it twice. Hamilton's won it twice.
yeah.
And I think that's it. I think they're the only two have won it twice. I believe. I don't know if Grosjean. No, Grosjean
And
has won it
also as
twice.
well, remember now Ferrari joined the line of Red Bull and McLaren, who have won it. Both drivers have won it in the team. Obviously,
Exactly. So
McLaren are technically leading with their 3 drivers. Obviously, Stoffel Van Dorn, who has just been signed as their
yes,
second
yes.
as the driver alongside Fernando Alonso. Very strange. We'll discuss that in another video if you can't get your head around why have they got 3 drivers in and nobody's retired, but they have only 2 drivers on the grid. We'll get your head around that in
Yes.
a bit. Anyway, so 3 winners from McLaren, but back onto today's race. Obviously, 2 winners from Ferrari. Obviously, Kimi in Russia, and then Seb in this race. Obviously, well
Yeah.
done, Sebastian. I mean, this is the best achievement you can do. Obviously, as well as winning it at your home, at the team's home event in front of the Tifosi, the amazing Italian crowd, and hopefully we're in that crowd one day, JT.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like, apparently rumor has it that there has been a deal agreed, but not officially signed
Yeah.
to keep Monza on the calendar for next season, which is really really good news. But we are going to kick off this review with this team here. Well, we'll normally kick off with Mercedes, but we'll have to start with the
Yeah,
home
we
team
need a change,
Ferrari.
guys.
We do. So, Sebastian Vettel, as we just said in P3, Kim Raikkonen in P4. Now, Ferrari were heading in this weekend off a very poor run of form, if you know what I mean. Like, they're behind Red Bull, they haven't really been up to scratch with their strategy and stuff. And today, I was noticed that the strategy was a little bit confusing in my. I didn't really understand where Ferrari were going with it because they started on the super softs and Mercedes started on the softs.
Yeah.
And everyone expected them to have a jump on the Mercedes, which they did, because Hamilton bogged down at the start, but Rosberg was able to actually keep ahead of them. So Ferrari were in P2 and 3 for a bit. And then I think it was Seb came in first, pitted, got back on the super softs, went out, and then same with Kimi. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? I thought they would have went for a longer strategy, but they're actually like maybe try to do maybe a 1 or 2 stop, but they've gone for a bit more aggressive strategy on this sense. So, and then when the next pit stops came around, they went on the softs. Same with Kimi, went back out and obviously lost that place to Lewis Hamilton. And I believe that if Ferrari went for maybe for the mediums, maybe they could have just battled Mercedes towards the end. So I didn't really understand where Ferrari were going with this. I think it was a risk that they wanted to take, but obviously didn't really pay off because they could have gotten both cars on the podium. But then again, you could also argue that Lewis Hamilton's pace was just too much to actually to be away from them. But they tried, they failed, but at least they got on the podium after all. Very satisfying weekend for Ferrari, if I'm honest with you. And also their counterpart at Haas, but we'll get onto them in a second. Yeah. But I mean, in my opinion, Elsie, I think Ferrari, this is probably the best weekend they've had in a while because we have given them a lot of stick.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased, that they have gotten the podium to actually challenge, not necessarily challenge the Mercedes, but compete with them eventually. So, what's your opinions on Ferrari on this weekend?
Yeah, they're making improvements. This weekend was a definite improvement by them. Obviously, in home support as well. I mean, if you're not wearing red in Monza, you may as well not even turn up to the race. Everyone loves red. Everyone loves Ferrari. It's so much support, and they need it as well. They need all that support. Obviously, one driver on the podium is amazing. Obviously, as you remember, Sebastian is one step lower than he was last year. Obviously, as you remember, he was on second place with Felipe Massa in third. Obviously, Kimi Räikkönen just behind Seb, 400th of a second. So yeah, it would have been great to see him on the podium as well. But there's no stopping Lewis, who, I mean, we have said he's just a great driver. Obviously, after Belgium, it showed how much just a standout driver he is. But obviously, he's not stopping Rosberg. But the next team we're going to move on to, and I'm going to change it a bit because obviously as we started with Ferrari, but now we're going to go into Red Bull Racing. Obviously, as we know, Mercedes have won, so technically there's no even point in talking about them.
Not really.
Okay, Red Bull Racing. Now I'm not sure how to say their race. Really, really, really bad. Okay. So at the start, Max Verstappen, he got bogged down so much, had a slow start, a slow getaway, and dropped out of the points. So it took a few laps to get back in it. Obviously, he was battling through the field to 10th place. Then a few laps with Fernando Alonso into 9th, and then moving up. And the 7th was the best he could hope for. But it was just very low and not a very good race by him. And I'll tell you something, JC, when I saw Max drop out of the points by the end of lap 1, I think it was by the end of lap 2 even, he was still out of the points. I was thinking, okay, come on guys, Max Verstappen is having a Belgium all over again. It's Belgium 2.0 here, it's Spa 2.0, and it's not good. Now obviously, and I've got to say, I mean, there's one thing that's not about this race. Well, it kind of works hand in hand, obviously, especially with Max. I think this controversy of what he did in Belgium is just being blown out of the water. I mean, come on guys, it's a racing incident. This is just being blown out of the water, and also he's 18. It's like a bunch of year 11s ganging up on a year 7 here. It's just not. I mean, come on, it's been blown out of the water. It might be taking a toll on him. Who knows? Obviously, as we know, if he was on the podium, just let's say, I imagine he would get more boos because obviously remember he had that problem with colliding with 2 Ferraris in Belgium, but he's not. But Max, bad race by him. Daniel Ricciardo now just an average. There's not really much to say about that. Obviously, he started in 6th place. Hope that he'd get higher, but yeah, not really good for him. So obviously, it was 2 Mercedes, then the 2 Ferraris, then Red Bull separated. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas in between the Red Bull sandwich, so that's disappointing. But as a third team, it's not great, especially knowing that they should be going after Mercedes and not worrying about Ferrari. So Red Bull GT, I mean, good race, bad race? How do you work that out?
It was probably unsatisfactory, let's say, from Red Bull this weekend because I expected more from them. Because the package this season is better. They've proved that they've been on the podium. They've won a race. They're the only team to win a race apart from the Mercedes in Spain with Max Verstappen. So the pace is there, and this is a track where it should have suited them in a way. Well, we did say in the preview that the Mercedes engines would just be dominating this track, and that wasn't necessarily true in a way. But I think we're mostly talking about the 2 Mercedes, Rosberg and Hamilton. But I mean, Red Bull this weekend, I mean, alright qualifying, but the race in itself wasn't as good as what I thought it was going to be for Red Bull because there were times where they were back out of the points, both Ricciardo and Verstappen. and they were challenging, with Force India, Williams, and Haas, trying to get past them as well. I mean, the strategy worked well to actually push them up a bit because Verstappen was like 12th and 11th around that stage for quite a while, and he eventually got up to P7 as well. So fair play to actually try and get fair play from the Red Bull strategy to get him back up there.
Yep.
But I mean, they should have got more. They should have actually been challenging the Ferraris, and that's why I'm saying Ferrari were probably team of the weekend. Let's say because there's loads of awards coming out this weekend. But yes, so they could have got close to them, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be. 5th and 7th place, it's okay. I mean, I believe they are still ahead of Ferrari, so I mean, sorry, not where's Red Bull? Sorry, they will be ahead of Ferrari still, but that's maybe the Ferrari can actually challenge Red Bull coming into the latter stages as we go into the Far East and Singapore, where, as just LC was saying, where Sebastian Vettel won last weekend. And he does all right at this circuit. So the next team we're going to just move on to just for a bit is Williams. Now they've just come off the news that Massa is retiring. Sad news, unfortunately, for all the F1 pilots, not just for Williams, losing a very talented driver there. So, and he wanted to do it at the same weekend where Mike Schumacher announced his retirement the first time around in 2006. So it was a fitting way to say, just to say goodbye to Formula One and goodbye to the Tifosi, because he drove for Ferrari. So obviously the Ferrari respecting. There's loads of banners everywhere saying, thank you for grazie Felipe and stuff, and loads very good support there. Even though he's not in a red, there's still that that the Ferrari love is still there. And P9 for Massa, I wasn't expecting much from Massa, but maybe I was expecting a little bit more because now he knows that he's not going to be in Formula One. The pressure is off him. He can relax for a bit now. So he's like, no, I'm not really at stake for my seat. I'm just going to do the best I can for the team. So pushing that a little bit more. P9, unfortunately, as we all know, Williams' pace wasn't good. The tyres did go off towards the end and lose a couple of positions as well, both from him and Bottas as well, who did okay to sandwich himself in between the Red Bulls in P6. So, I mean, to be fair, the Mercedes engines from the Williams should have elevated them to maybe P4, P5, challenging the Ferraris, but Williams' strategy isn't really good. The pace isn't really there, and they have been under a lot of criticism recently from the media as well, so not good there. But, I mean, overall, P6 and P9, it'll do, let's say, for Williams this weekend. Better than scoring no points as they have done in the past couple of weekends, but double points as well from Williams. There is more to come as well. We are coming into Singapore, where it is tricky to overtake, and Williams have done all right at street circuits in the past. Not so much this race, but they have had upgrades. There are upgrades still to come from a lot of the teams, so maybe Williams can maybe push on and do well at the next Grand Prix. That'll obviously only time will tell. So Williams for P6 and P9, LC, would you say that's okay, or would you say that's just no? That's not enough.
I reckon that's what they needed. What they actually needed. Obviously, as we know, they're in a fight with Force India at the moment. Now, as I said, we said in the preview, that's important for them to make sure that they, keep the fight going. They don't want to slip into the grasp of anything else, and they have. At the moment, obviously, as you know, now they're 3 points ahead of Force India. Obviously, Williams now in 4th place with 111 points. Force India in 108. So they have done it. I mean, JT, come on, that's happy. That's mission. If this was like a cheesy 90s movie, they crossed the line and there'd be like some inspirational music. Everyone would be high-fiving and there'd be mission accomplished. And obviously, I mean, that is unbelievable. And obviously, as Felipe Massa said last year on the radio, as he came third, he went to Ross Medley. Obviously, not bad for an old guy, not bad, for an old guy, an old fart like me. And then he was not too old, mate. And that's exactly what they have done. I mean, a strong race by them, obviously, both in the points, which is really great. Obviously, so is Force India. But I mean, they've battled the Force Indias. They have done what is needed. Absolutely amazing by them. So Williams, job done. And you said Ferrari the team of the weekend, JT, and I've got to agree with you there. But very close behind them is Williams. I mean, come on. That is unbelievable from you guys. So obviously, next team to mention is a team who must be hanging their heads in despair. Is the Force Indies. Now, obviously, double points from them. 8th place for Sergio Perez, and 10th place, the last point for Nico Hulkenberg. So obviously, still great for them, both in the points. But now they're not ahead of Williams in the World Championship. Now must be really bad. They must be really bad. It's almost like Williams can go around and gloat to them, and Force India just have to sit out inside in the garage and go, yep, we know that. It wasn't a sloppy race from Force India. It was just an unbelievable race from Williams. As a team, though, obviously they must be incredibly happy now. They maintain their 60-point lead over McLaren in 6th place. So that is really good. Obviously, I mean, JT, do you think they ever thought that they'd be 60 points ahead of a team who once had obviously 2 world champions in the team, winning left, right, and centre?
No, I don't think they would have, because I mean, once upon a time, McLaren were just the team to beat.
Oh yeah.
Whereas now McLaren, McLaren are beatable now.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the start of the season, they probably looked at the package and thought, I think we might struggle with some teams this weekend, and probably looked at McLaren Honda and thought, you know what, they would have learned from last season, probably gone to this season. But I mean, Force India, that as we said before, that they are very much impressed this season. Yeah. I mean, they haven't got as much money, they haven't got the pace, but they are doing okay. And I mean, this weekend, I mean, they've got points. Yes, that's good, but maybe they should have got more.
Possibly.
Taking the challenge to Mercedes, only 3 points, as like you said, LC. And again, I think this could go on for quite some races. Between 1 minute it's Force India ahead, then it's Williams.
3 points that can easily change in Singapore.
Exactly.
Easily.
So it's crazy.
It really is unbelievable. That's probably one of the best fights to watch. Just the both Force India is going for it, JT. This is probably going to be the closest fight we're going to see now. Obviously, first time we'll mention this in the episode, obviously because we didn't do a Mercedes. There is only a 2-point gap, mind the gap, or is the gap's closing between Lewis and Nico. 2 points. That is absolutely unbelievable. Was I saying before that? Yes, obviously this will be an incredibly close fight to watch, JT. Yeah. 3 points, obviously 111 to 108. Can change in Singapore, and then obviously all the other races till Abu Dhabi, and then I think it'll be finally sorted there. Where I think the margins will be squeaky tight till about 3, 4, 5 points, or even maybe less. 1 point even
exactly.
On level. I mean, that would be unbelievable. I don't know what happens if you go level. If you're alphabetically ahead, do you go?
I think probably just maybe who's finished highest more. I think that's how it would go.
Because if it's alphabetically ahead, JT, that means Force India go ahead. I remember just on an unrelated note about the alphabetic thing. I remember when Jason Kenny, the Team GB rider on the track in the velodrome, in the Olympics he became the most successful. He became on par with Chris Hoy. With medals in the Olympics on the track. But Chris Hoy was saying that he's happy enough because it goes in alphabetical order. Chris being C to J, C is ahead of J, so Chris stayed at the top. But obviously you can still argue that with the Sir, the S, that's lower than the J. So anyway, getting off topic, JT, do you think this will go on for many, many races, and obviously one of the best fights we'll see this year, knowing that obviously the Mercedes just ran away with the championship?
Exactly. I mean, yes, you could argue that this is another Mercedes season. Yes, but last season it was more Hamilton than Rosberg.
Yeah.
This season it's like 2014. I think this will go down to the wire.
Yeah.
And also in the midfield, I think this battle between Williams and Force India will go down to the last race.
Yeah.
And I hope so. And maybe maybe like Renault might, eventually score some points. Maybe Manor might score some here and there. So the fight at the bottom, midfield, and the top, it's still so tight. Let's not forget Red Bull and Ferrari. They're battling hammer and tongs at each other. So, I mean, you could Mercedes winning the game, but look at the midfield. There's loads of battles going on, not only in the constructors, but the drivers as well. Loads of close battles happening there. I mean, the battle for third. There's obviously 2 Ferraris and 2 Red Bulls going for third place. Mm-hmm. Best of the rest. That is a good achievement in itself. So there's loads of drivers going for it there. Then for as well as the bottom. So there's lots to focus on heading into the final stages of the weekend. Also, that is the end of the European season, because we're not heading back into Europe until the pre-season testing in Spain next season. So that is goodbye from Europe for now. So we are heading into some very interesting races. But yes, as we were saying, Force India, spot on, very good close battle here. And a team that we're going to mention next, who didn't score any points this weekend, but they should have, and they came close to, because they had a very good qualifying, which is Haas, who are running the Ferrari engine, so they want to do well for their engine supplier. And they got in the Q3 for the first time as well in the history. So congratulations. And it wasn't the driver you would think. I would have thought it would have been Romain Grosjean. It wasn't. It was Esteban Gutierrez. Exactly. So in P10. So absolutely tremendous work from him. So and pretty much that was where the fairy tale sort of ended, because at the start of the race he got bogged down and ended up like miles behind everybody else in like P20 or something like that. So that's pretty much where Gutierrez ended up. But in terms of Romain Grosjean, he did well. He was at the point for the most stages of the race, but I believe his tyres wore out towards the end. So, and obviously dropped back as well. He ended up P11, just outside the points there from the Force India of Nico Rosberg. Very disappointing, but at the same time, progress has been made. They did upgrade their Ferrari engine heading into this weekend, which is I think a lot of teams would have. They have a new wavy rear wing as well, so obviously to let better airflow through. So the progress was there, but unfortunately they got the strategy wrong. The pace dropped off in the race, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have liked to seen more points from Haas this season, which I believe they will. They haven't scored. I think Austria was the last time they scored points. Yeah. So it hasn't been good few races, but the progress is there. And maybe obviously I think their targets will be teams like McLaren. I think they're the closest rivals, so trying to catch them will be a good achievement for them. So Elsa, you follow Haas a lot. Yeah. They're like your team on the side. You race them on F1 2016. So what's your overall verdict on this weekend?
Oh, I'm loving it. I love Haas moving up. It's absolutely amazing. JT, I was at work yesterday, as you know, and I was just tracking the qualifying on my phone. And I remember the moment when I was on Q3. Obviously, I had my phone in the corner, and I was pouring some drinks at the time. So I was, pouring them away, obviously, not to spill over the top. And I was going over, and I saw Gutierrez Q3, and I was like, and also just all over the floor. It was just unbelievable to see that happen. Was just amazing. Obviously, the Hasses, they didn't have amazing start, and I was watching them through the race, and I was thinking, it's just a typical race by Haas. But obviously, they grew so much. Obviously, Romain Grosjean in the worst position, 11th place. That is the worst position in Formula One. The worst, because you're just outside of the points, and obviously from 11th downwards you have no points, and that's almost like, why did I even bother? Why did I slog my guts out to try and get to 11th place, so close, to try and get that high up? But obviously can't merit. Esteban Gutierrez in 13th. Obviously he needs to really step up in the car, but obviously this was probably the closest that he could get towards that. As you know, Gutierrez is the first of the drivers in the World Championship with no points. He was not close to doing that, but obviously he was probably the closest he ever has been to that. Obviously, Romain Grosjean stayed in 13th position with 28 points. As I say, just missing out on the points. But, just unbelievable from them, JT. It's almost like they started at an unbelievable high with Australia and Bahrain. Obviously, 2 points finishes for Grosjean. Then falling back down. But unlike other teams we've seen, like one-shot wonders, they're not just on the way down, they're on the way back up. Obviously heading into, as you know, then a non-European team, so they don't have the home advantage. But obviously now as we leave Europe, will Singapore, the humidity and the fast-paced and the longness, it's almost like, I feel Singapore's like more of an endurance event, because obviously, as you know, it's 2 hours long. Don't ask us how that works, but it is 2 hours long. Which is very, very strange. After about 5 laps to go, you don't actually see the lap board, you just see a timer, which is incredibly strange. Exactly. Very, very, very strange.
Because I think Singapore is one of the longest circuits. It's one of the hardest circuits to actually drive on, because it's so hot as well, so humid. It's ridiculous. So I think it's about 54 laps. I think it is 56 laps.
To work it out to 2 hours.
It's either it's whatever occurs, because obviously every F1 race has a 2 hour curfew. So it's whatever occurs first, whether it's 2 hours or whether it's 56 laps. Mm-hmm. So that's normally the case in Singapore. I think last season, they just got to the timer by the time of the end of the race. Yeah. But I remember that the last 3 or 4 before that ended on the timer. So Haas. Yes, obviously now leaving Europe, coming into the Far East now. But also, let's not forget they've got America to go to. Yes. Towards the end of the season, and Mexico, so that'd be great to warm me there. But America as well, their home race, they'll be doing well there. It's not a track that will probably suit them, but I believe that, a bit like what we're seeing from this weekend, the support will probably encourage them to do well. That's when they'll probably do the last of upgrades on the car to go, right. Yes, it has been an alright season. Let's try and score some points at our home race, make ourselves known in Formula One at our home Grand Prix. Yeah. And yes, it's for Haas, it's absolutely. It's all right, but as like Elsie was saying, they're not on the way down. They're actually gradually, slowly going back up along the grid, which is fantastic to see. Not like your HRTs and caterings where they're just back down there and just left to rot basically. So it's good to see like that. But just another team I would just briefly mention, and a team that didn't do as well in the race. In fact, one of the cars had a DNF, but they did okay in qualifying. I just want to briefly mention them is Manor. Now, Manor is a team that we don't really mention a lot.
Not much.
But I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Pascal Wehrlein, who got into Q2 for the second time in a row. Let's not forget, which is an unbelievable achievement. He was sandwiched between the 2 McLarens in P14. I think Button P12 and Alonso P14, or vice versa. So a fantastic achievement there for Pascal Wehrlein. Unfortunately, he had a technical problem, retired from the race. Esteban Ocon didn't really make us shine in a way, but I just want to briefly mention Mana as to how much progress they've made since probably since the halfway point of the season about Britain, because they're doing so well compared to what they had done in the last few races. They've already got a point. I believe they can score more, and from a team from who rose from the ashes, who are now competing and doing well in Formula 1, who are now beating a team like Sauber and nearly on par with Renault, who can out-qualify and out-race them. I think it's a really good achievement. And I mean, there isn't a lot more to go on about, but I think this weekend, obviously they had Mercedes power, brilliant support, brilliant teamwork as well from them. I'm liking every minute of it. Let's hope maybe at the street circuit at Singapore they can get some points, do well, and just create that legacy on. I mean, it is good LC, isn't it? I mean, Man are on a team to talk about every week because they don't really shine, but the past two races in qualifying especially, they've done superbly, I think, in my opinion.
Man, come on, Q2 for the second time, he's unbelievable, JT. Looking at the Constructors' Championship, which, by the way, I think we're going to mention more so than the drivers at the moment, because obviously, as I say, the margins, everywhere.
It's crazy.
Everywhere is squeaky tight, apart from, obviously, I think the gap between Mercedes and Red Bull. 498 points for Mercedes, 290 for Red Bull, that's a big gap. But after that, the margins are tiny, absolutely tiny. Anyway, sorry, so Manor and Renault, there's a gap of 5 points. If Manor can close that by the end of the season, that would be unbelievable. JT, do you think they can? Because I have such high hopes that they could even do it maybe not next race. The next two races, I think they could do it. If both drivers have good races and one of them gets into the points, I think they could close the gap to Renault by the end of the season anyway.
Exactly. I mean, racetracks such as Mexico is still to come, and Brazil. I'll probably say Brazil is probably the closest thing to Austria we're going to come to, which is where they got their first points. Short, fast, there's not a lot to do at Brazil, but that's where I think they'll get some points eventually. And the next race is Singapore. They do well at street circuits. That's where Mauritius scored their first ever points with the Jules Bianchi in Monaco 14. So street circuits is there. They've had a good performance in Monaco 16 this season. So street circuits are the way to go. Singapore should be there. Should be a very good Grand Prix. Hopefully they can get some points and close the gap with Renault. In terms of that, I hope they can. I really do hope, but maybe Renault might find some pace from somewhere. Might go in a garbage can or something. Like, I've got some pace here. Let's put it on the car, because they need to find pace from somewhere. Anything. But just quickly. Obviously, we haven't got any pace, but never mind. And if it did, I wouldn't give it to Renault. That's for sure. But maybe Mana can do well next few races. Maybe Renault can again drop the points because K-Mag is the only driver to score points for Renault. Jolien has came close, but maybe some sort of racing gods don't want to score points, because there's been 2 occasions where he very nearly did, but then got it wrong, and that's pretty much it. So maybe so, but yes, Mana hopefully can catch Renault, and yes, I'll back them all the way.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Now, I want to mention a team that we never mentioned, but there's not much to mention about them, is Sauber. As we know, plumb last in the Constructors. They are still plumb last in the Constructors. One driver retired, and that was a lap 2 collision, which he almost took out himself, didn't he, JT? Felipe Nasser. He ran into Julian Palmer, and he took out himself. And I watched that on the replay, and I just was thinking, he is rubbish. Get him out. And then next year, we'll probably see no Brazilian on the grid, which, by the way, JT, obviously with Brazil having a massive legacy, that hasn't happened since, about the late 80s? Because obviously you've had Rubens, but you had Piquet, then you had Rubens, then obviously Massa and Barrichello running side by side, and, that hasn't happened in a long time. But if Brazil are going to have a Brazilian in Formula 1, then why would it be Felipe Nasser? Because if anything, I mean, no offense, Sauber, obviously, but get rid of Felipe, because he's almost he's the team's going to implode, because Felipe is just going to blow it up himself. It's just ridiculous.
It isn't a good strategy right now for Sauber and Felipe Nasser. It just hasn't gone their way. But as like you were saying, Elsie, Brazil need a driver, because I mean the legacy there is just fantastic. Like, for example, we haven't had an Italian driver since Gianna Trulli in 2011. He was at Lotus, left. We haven't seen one since, and we need to have drivers from Belgium as well to have a good spot.
Stoffel Van Dorn, that's it.
Stoffel Van Dorn, exactly. He's coming in. Max Verstappen was born in Belgium. You could debate whether he's Belgium or he's Dutch.
He'll decide on the day, like Andy Murray. He'll just decide on the day.
Exactly. And we need drivers in just to have the home support. I mean, maybe driving from Monaco perhaps. Rosberg is closest thing because he lives there, he grew up there, so he's kind of home support, but he's German, so that doesn't really count.
Well, he's not liked anywhere, JT, so he doesn't really have support anywhere.
Exactly. So until you go to Germany, then maybe. But I mean, when you come to Britain, you stand no chance, mate.
We know that the would. Even though the British fans do like everybody, though they like every single person, apart from Rosberg.
We support every team, we support every driver, and it is a good environment to have in Formula One. So
yeah, exactly. So anyway, so the results of the race. It finished with Nico Rosberg in first position with Lewis Hamilton in second. Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari came in third with another Ferrari behind fourth sort of again. So Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari 3-4. Daniel Ricciardo finished in fifth place. In a Red Bull sandwich was Valtteri Bottas in sixth place. Verstappen in seventh, Perez in eighth. Bowing out the last Grand Prix for him, Felipe Massa in ninth, and then Nico Hülkenberg, the Nearly man from Germany, makes it in 10th. But yeah, strong race. In Italy was a great race for everyone. It might not have been full of action and full of crashes and whatever, but it had everything that real Formula One fans need, which is progression by each driver. And as I said, JT, I mean, maybe we're not looking at the Drivers' Championship now, but the Constructors, okay? So the big gaps, obviously, Mercedes with 2 points shy of 500, obviously with a gap to Red Bull Racing of I'm not going to try and wear that out of my head because I'll do it wrong. It is a big gap. No, wait there, I can do it. So you've got
here we go.
208 points. That was easy. So there we go, 208 points gap. The gap from Ferrari to Red Bull is only 11 points. So again, that's very easily to close. There was a big gap between Williams and Ferrari. Obviously, Ferrari winning the distance was 279 points, Williams on 111. But as I said, JT, the best fight I think to watch is a 3-point gap between Mercedes. Mercedes powered both teams, but Williams and Force India. 3 points could change. It will change. I can almost put my money on it, JT. Next race, it will change. Do you agree? Do you think that will be one of the best fights to watch this for the remainder of this season?
It is going to be. It's like almost like the golden, almost like the dark horse type of battle going on, because nobody's going to really see it until you're properly into Formula One. Like when people watch the news, who just watch, what's going on in the sport. There's a massive battle between Hamilton and Rosberg. That's very exciting. But look further down the grid. Like you said, with Force India and Williams, obviously them two drivers, Bottas, Massa, and Hülkenberg and Perez are going to be battling with each other also in the championship. So trying to outscore each other, trying to out-qualify each other, that's going to be tremendous to watch. And again, at the back, teams such as like Manor and Renault, they're going hammer and tongs as well. Toro Rosso and McLaren as well, those two as well. So there is loads to watch, to get excited about. So there is going to be some very exciting Grand Prix, even though it might be a Baku type of race. But let's not forget, we could also see like Williams doing P5 and Force India not scoring any points. McLaren as well scoring points and Toro Rosso not. Maybe Force, you know what I mean? Just loads of things like that could occur. And
anything can happen.
We are in for a very exciting final. I think is it 7 races left now?
Yep.
So very exciting end of the season. And today's Italian Grand Prix hasn't been one to exactly remember. Not as good as last weekend, but it has still been a good race. The support from the Tifosi has been absolutely fantastic. And to be fair, it is an amazing way to end the European season, if I'm honest with you.
It is.
A tremendous start. A tremendous start of the European season. We'll end it in Italy. Very good Italian fans. You've done it. You've done it again. Hopefully, we'll see you next season. Yeah,
first hand, because we would love to go to that race.
Exactly, we should be.
Anyway, guys, obviously, thank you very much for watching the review.
Yes, thank
you. The next round, as JT mentioned, is Singapore. The night race. Absolutely, I love Singapore. As in terms of modern races, obviously, I'd say Singapore is better. Obviously, Abu Dhabi is still a great one, but I'd say Singapore rocks the modern day races as well. So, obviously, thank you for watching this episode. Please go and check out our F1 debate show, which came out just a short while ago. We talked about unfortunately we missed out 2 big news, which is
we did, because we recorded it like 3 or 4 days in advance.
But but obviously we mentioned that Silverstone may be leaving, hopefully not. And we also, the bigger thing, JT, is about the giveaway that the F1
yes, loads of people mentioned on my stream about the giveaway. There was a fan that kept inboxing us, basically saying that when are you gonna do it. Another fan from America, he was saying that, don't mention about the cap because I want to stuff.
We didn't mention that.
And there's a woman fan who said, "Oh, I would love to have that." So there's like, I think we could cause like a massive riot here just because of Cap.
We could break the internet. So anyway, yeah. So obviously, all the information is on that episode. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the night race of Singapore. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys. Take care.